All right. So, question. How do you become harder to kill? And that sounds like the title of some tactical survival manual, right? But maybe you're expecting me to tell you to become like a Navy SEAL or build a bunker or carry 17 knives and spend your weekends practicing how to escape from zip ties. That's that's not what I'm talking about. Because statistically, the thing most likely to take you out probably isn't an assassin. It's disease. Okay? It's an accident. It's a bad decision. Being physically incapable when suddenly you desperately need to be capable, failing to recognize a problem until it's too late, or simply doing something incredibly stupid because you thought being tough meant being reckless. Being hard to kill isn't about paranoia, and it isn't about believing you're invincible. It's almost the opposite. It's recognizing that you're not invincible and preparing accordingly. So, welcome to Force, a Rise 41 channel where we are dedicated to building stronger men and women in body, mind, and character. If that mission resonates with you, subscribe to the channel, like the episode, send it to somebody who needs to hear it, because today we're talking about how to become harder to kill. Let's get into it. All right, part one. Build a body that can keep you alive. Let's start with the really obvious stuff. Your body. Physical fitness isn't just about looking good naked. That's a good bonus, though. Let's be honest here. But anyway, to be fair, it is a nice side effect, but fitness is a form of preparedness. Your cardiovascular system matters when you have to climb stairs, you have to run, you have to swim, maybe carry somebody, work under stress, or recover from an illness or an injury. Strength matters when you need to lift something off someone, pull yourself over an obstacle, move debris, carry a child, or simply prevent yourself from becoming physically fragile as you age. Muscle isn't just decoration, it's reserve capacity. So cardiovascular fitness is also reserve capacity. Mobility is reserve capacity. And reserve capacity matters when life suddenly demands more from your body than it normally does. That's the principle I want you to understand. Don't build a body capable only of surviving your normal day. Build one with something left in the tank. You should be able to walk several miles. You should be able to sprint if necessary. You should be able to get yourself off the ground easily. You should be able to lift and carry meaningful weight, whatever that may be. You should be able to climb. You should have enough mobility that a slightly awkward movement doesn't immediately turn into an orthopedic event, okay? And you should maintain those abilities for as much of your life as possible, because there's tremendous difference between looking fit and being useful. Ideally, you become both. All right, easy enough. Part two. Know how to keep someone alive. Here's where our culture gets a little strange. People will spend hundreds of hours learning specialized skills they may never use, but ask them what to do when someone is bleeding heavily. Crickets. Someone collapses. What do? Nothing. Someone's choking. Nothing. That's backwards, people. Basic emergency medical knowledge may be among the most useful preparedness skills you can possess. Hey, if you can, learn CPR, learn how to use an AED, learn how to recognize choking, learn basic bleeding control, learn when something is beyond your ability and emergency services need to be called immediately. Recognize those things. Keep a legitimate first aid kit that's accessible, and don't just buy the thing. Know what's inside it. Look at it, okay? Equipment without knowledge is just expensive luggage. Take an actual course, maybe, on first aid. Practice. Refresh those skills periodically. Because when something generally terrible happens, you're probably not going to become magically competent because adrenaline showed up, okay? You tend to fall back on what you've learned and practiced. And medical readiness isn't just about saving somebody else. It may be about keeping yourself alive long enough for professionals to come and get there and take over and complete the job, and then you'll survive. So think about that one. All right, part three. Pay attention. One of the greatest survival tools ever developed weighs about 3 pounds and sits between your ears. Use it. Awareness isn't walking around constantly scanning rooftops for snipers. Okay, that's not it. That's not situational awareness. That's just exhausting. Real awareness is simply maintaining enough connection with your environment to notice when something doesn't make sense. Where are you? What's happening around you? Where are the exits? Is somebody behaving strangely? Is the weather changing? Are you about to drive into obviously dangerous conditions? Is your friend too drunk to drive? Is the guy at the bar becoming increasingly aggressive? Is the trail you're hiking getting beyond your ability? Is your body telling you something is seriously wrong? Most dangerous situations don't begin at maximum intensity. They escalate. things, and there are often warning signs if you're paying attention. Sometimes survival simply means noticing the problem while you still have options. There are often warning signs, and that's important because the earlier you identify that danger, the larger your menu of possible responses usually is. You can leave, you can change direction, you can call somebody, you can get help, you can slow down, you can cancel the plan, you can move somewhere safer. Once the emergency is fully underway, those options will shrink rapidly. And awareness buys you time, and time buys you choices. Another thing to consider. So, part 4. Get better at making decisions. Make better decisions. Because one of the best ways to become harder to kill is simply to stop doing stupid shit. Like, seriously, you don't need a tactical beard. You need judgment. Wear your seatbelt. Don't drive drunk. Don't get into a vehicle with somebody who is drunk. Don't drive like you're auditioning for Fast and Furious 19. Don't make substances without understanding what you're doing. Don't turn a disagreement with a stranger into a confrontation because your ego won't allow you to walk away. Don't go hiking into remote wilderness completely unprepared. Don't ignore serious symptoms for 3 weeks because you're tough. Don't intentionally put yourself into a dangerous situation unless there's a damn good reason. And understand something, risk isn't inherently bad. Some of the best things you'll ever do will involve risk: climbing, martial arts, motorcycles, I don't know, travel, competition, adventures, starting a business, putting yourself into uncomfortable situations. Life isn't supposed to be lived wrapped in bubble wrap. I get that. But there's a difference between calculated risk and recklessness. Okay, so calculated risk asks, what's the potential benefit? What's the potential downside? How likely is failure? Can I reduce that risk? And if something goes wrong, what's my backup plan? Okay? Recklessness really says, it'll be fine. It's okay. And those are two very, very, very different philosophies. So learn the difference and practice the difference. All right, part 5. This one's important. This one is tough. At least for me, it's very tough, but it's absolutely essential. Control your ego. Okay? It deserves its own section because ego gets people hurt. Somebody insults you. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Somebody challenges you. Some drunk idiot wants to fight. And suddenly your primitive brain whispers, "We cannot allow this disrespect." That's your lizard freaking brain right there. Like, but you know what? Yes, you can. Walking away from a meaningless confrontation isn't cowardice. It's strategy. It's evidence that you're actually in control of yourself. Because think about the potential downside of fighting some random stranger. You could get hurt. They could get hurt. Somebody falls and hit their head. Somebody introduces a weapon. Police get involved. Lawsuits happen. Careers disappear. Families are affected. And what exactly did you win? The parking space championship? Yeah, great. You got the card, the shopping card at Walmart? That's what you won after all that? Congratulations. Here's your freaking trophy. Your real trophy is, you know what? A freaking court date. A capable person should understand violence. A capable person should be prepared to protect themselves and others when genuinely necessary, for sure. But capability should make you more selective, not less. Because once you understand how quickly violence can become catastrophic and how it can escalate, avoiding unnecessary violence starts looking a lot less cowardly. It starts looking really fucking intelligent. Okay. Part 6. Don't confuse fear with preparedness. There's another extreme we need to avoid. You can become so obsessed with potential danger that you stop actually living. That's not preparedness either. The objective isn't to eliminate risk. That's impossible. Okay, you're going to die someday. Deal with it. So am I. We're all going to die someday. Everyone listening to this episode has a 100% mortality rate eventually. No one here is going to live forever. The goal is not immortality. The goal is to avoid being taken out unnecessarily. And more importantly, to remain capable of living a meaningful life while you're here. Preparedness should create confidence and not anxiety. You learn first aid so you're calmer during an emergency. You train your body so you're more capable, like we discussed. You learn self-defense so you have options. You pay attention so you're less likely to be surprised and blindsided. You prepare for emergencies so you're not helpless when something goes wrong. Then you go live your life. And that's the point. That's it. That's all there is to this lesson. Go live your life. Be prepared, but don't be afraid of everything. Part 7. Build systems before you need them. When an emergency happens, it's a terrible time to start figuring everything out. Okay? Preparation should happen beforehand. That's why it's preparation. Your family should know basic emergency plans. Important phone numbers should be accessible. Your vehicle should contain basic emergency supplies. You should know where your medical information is. You should know where the nearest exits are when you're somewhere unfamiliar. If you're traveling into remote areas, somebody should know where you're going and when you're expected back. Keep your phone charged. Maintain your vehicle. Have smoke detectors that actually work. Have fire extinguishers where they're useful. Learn basic first aid. None of this is sexy. Nobody's going to make a blockbuster movie called like The Man Who Regularly Replaces His Smoke Detector Batteries. It's not a thing. But that guy might survive that fire, though. So preparation is often incredibly boring and tedious until the moment it isn't. So keep that in mind. Boring and tedious, but safe. All right, part 8. 8 part of this very quick lesson to give you some ideas. Become useful under pressure. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to develop. Not invincibility. It's usefulness. When something goes wrong, can you think? Can you control your breathing? Can you communicate clearly? Can you make decisions? Can you physically perform? Can you help somebody else? Or do you immediately become another person who needs rescuing? That's why physical training matters, and that's why difficult experiences matter. That's why martial arts and competition can be valuable. That's why learning emergency medicine matters. That's why occasionally doing hard things voluntarily matters, because you're teaching yourself when pressure arrives, I can still function. You won't always make the perfect decision. That's not going to happen. Nobody does. That's just not going to happen. But you can become increasingly difficult to overwhelm. And that might be the better definition of being hard to kill. All right, let's do a quick hard to kill checklist. Let's go over this stuff real quick. So if you wanted to start tomorrow, here's where I'd begin. So 1, train your body. Develop strength, cardiovascular fitness, mobility, coordination, and endurance. Be useful in your body. Be mobile. Learn basic emergency medicine. I've got to do this. Like legitimate CPR, AED, first aid, and bleeding control training. I've got to learn these things better. I have an understanding, but it's very basic. I do absolutely admit I do not know enough. I need to get those skills. Improve your awareness. Put the phone down occasionally and actually observe your surroundings. Every once in a while, this is good. I do this often when I go to like restaurants and stuff, but that's another story, But anyway. Learn practical self-defense. Not because you're looking for violence, but because violence sometimes finds people who weren't looking for it. So be ready. That's all it is. It's not so you can start picking fights. Quite the contrary, so you can avoid them. Maintain your equipment, your vehicle, your smoke detectors, your emergency supplies, medications, communications, boring things that become really important when they fail. Make sure they're maintained. Control your intoxicants. Okay, anything that compromises judgment increases vulnerability. So keep that in mind when you make your decision. If you're going to be one of those people, if you're going to have a beer or two, understand what happens there, or you're going to smoke a joint. I'm not making a moral call here. I'm just saying be aware of the effect. So when you make that choice, you understand what you're dealing with. Okay? Control your ego. You don't have to win every confrontation. Sometimes the best ones are the ones you just walk away. All right. Develop judgment, and learn to distinguish worthwhile risk from meaningless risk so you can make, again, better decisions. Build redundancy. Have another option when the first one, fails. Have more options. It's always better. And finally, the last one, just don't live recklessly, okay? Because you can be incredibly fit, highly trained, well-equipped, and extremely capable and still make one catastrophically stupid decision, and it doesn't matter. So, all right. So just to close, let me leave you with a thought. There's an interesting paradox here. And the harder you become to kill, the less you should feel the need to prove how tough you are. Real capability tends to create restraint. You don't need to manufacture danger because you've prepared yourself for the possibility that danger may eventually arrive on its own. So build the body, learn the skills, pay attention, prepare for emergencies, develop judgment, control your ego, protect the people around you, and then go live a big life. and take worthwhile risks. Have adventures, do difficult things, challenge yourself. Just don't confuse recklessness with courage. And it's to become the kind of person who, when circumstances suddenly become difficult, dangerous, or chaotic, can look at the situation and say, hey, I'm still useful, okay? Strong in body, sharp in mind, steadfast in character. That's what it means to be forged. If you got something out of this episode, guys, hit like, subscribe to Res 41 Forge. Send this episode to someone you want around when things go sideways that they should be aware of this, right? And in the comments, just tell me this. What's one skill you believe every capable adult should know? Until next time, just let me know what you think. Until next time, stay strong, stay capable, stay prepared, keep getting forged. Thank you for your time.